We got an inside glimpse at practice last week. A lot going on, but people are wondering, why is Seth Trimble wearing a blue jersey when the rest of the starters are wearing white? We'll ask Coach about that in just a second.
This is Tyler Hansbrough, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Thursday, October 16th, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Thursday going the right way. This episode's brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 to use all across the app. Special shout out to all the everydayers joining us here today, all the great members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. That place is popping off right now. It's crazy, as well as our Locked On Tar Heels insiders. Great to have all of you here with us for the show today. Joining me, as he does every Thursday, is our good buddy, Coach Bill Robinson, the head coach of the Milligan University Buffaloes, careening toward their season kickoff as well there in Johnson City. Technically Milligan College, Tennessee, I guess, really. And Coach also, if you're unaware, is a 2-decade veteran of Carolina Basketball School. That's Carolina's summer basketball camp, and has detailed all of his experiences in this wonderful book, Carolina Basketball School, History, Stories, and Drills. You need to get a copy of it today, Coach. It's been cool. We've seen a lot of people recently talk about commenting on how much they're enjoying it. Man, it's always neat to hear and see that.
No, it's been really cool. So just had the opportunity to be part of Carolina basketball, even in such a small little way, is an awesome thing for me.
All right, y'all, here's where we're headed today on the show. Last week, the media was treated to an inside look at about 20-ish minutes of Carolina's practice. There's footage out there. Our guy, R.L. Bynum from Tar Heel Tribune, has some great stuff of that if you want to go check it out. So I want to ask Coach about his takeaways. I've got a couple as well. We'll also look at the ACC preseason media poll and the AP poll that came out this week. I want to ask Coach, are the Tar Heels too high, too low, or just right? And we'll have some other takeaways from that. How do you help your team process it and all that? Then we'll look at the pro day Carolina had on Tuesday, why that's a neat thing and how you process that as a player. And also some sad news came on Tuesday of this week where Tar Heel Randy Wiel unfortunately passed away. So Coach will give some thoughts on that at the end. Coach, let's break down this practice footage. I'm sure you've got some takeaways from yourself as a coach, but where I want to start, and I want to start here because a lot of people have asked me about it. You see the guys broken up into their white jerseys and their blue jerseys, and when they're doing drills and things like that, the white team appears to be the starters. The only thing is that it's Kai Evans, Luka Bogavac, Caleb Wilson, Henri Veesaar, and Jonathan Powell, while Seth Trimble is on the blue team along with Derek Dixon, James Brown, Jarin Stevenson, and Zayden High. Coach, I think a lot of people are kind of freaked out about that. Like, does that mean Seth is coming off the bench? Can you explain what that means or doesn't mean?
Yeah, I don't think it means a thing. I really don't. I don't read into too much stuff. I think my take on that is Seth's your leader. You've got 5 guys that maybe been working together. Let's put Seth with the second team, maybe help them motivate a little bit. They're not going 5-on-5 in this video. And when you can flip over a jersey that quickly, when time to run up and down, it really honestly doesn't mean a whole lot. We put everybody on the same team when we do team, like a shooting drill, everybody wears the same color. You want that unity. But when you split up into different groups, coaches do it for many different reasons, and we don't know why. It'd be a great question to be able to ask, Hubert or one of the staff, but I don't think it means a thing. And I don't want to read into too much, though that's exactly what we're going to do today because that's what podcasts are about.
That's right. Overreact to everything that we can do. No, Coach, I think you're spot on there. I'm right with you. I think because it's 4 of the other projected starters, I think that kind of freaks people out that maybe aren't used to an inside look at practice or things like that. And I love your point there. Like, honestly, that's your leader helping lead some of the second team guys. And I think that makes a ton of sense. Also, I think it's good because Jonathan Powell is probably going to get a lot of run with those ones. And you like to see him getting that experience. All right. Coach, I've got other observations. I just wanted to start there, but then I want to turn the ball over to you and just get some of your thoughts and takeaways as well.
Yeah, the first thing I love to see is Joel James sitting in the background. And I know that's not what anybody else is looking at, but I think it's just cool because I know he wants to coach, and he's on Carolina, like he's working at Carolina. He's not on staff, obviously, but to know that he's still there every day watching practice, I think is really cool. And I think he's going to be a great coach. He's a great communicator, and he's a great guy. And I love to see him in the background. They're not showing anything in this video that people, they're not worried about anybody seeing this, but for me, it's confirmation a little bit to see them go post perimeter and work on little things, to know that seeing Creighton Lebo being involved in a GA position, but just working with the post with Sean and being able to work on post ups and finishes. And we talk about our short game. We talk about, being able to finish at the rim in multiple different ways, layups, dunks, reverses, floaters. We talk about short game, you think about golf, but it's the same concept. When the closer you are to the hole, you need to be able to finish it. And I think that was one of the big takeaways for me. The other thing was the 4 managers at each basket. I'm 16 years here. I don't think I've had 4 managers total. So it's just a different world, and knowing that it's just so much more efficient and everything's popping from one spot to the other. And to hear Hubert yell enthusiasm at the beginning of it, you know that the energy's there. And if you bring a bunch of media or scouts, NBA people into a practice, any kind of practice, even our guys would get more energy just knowing that there's people evaluating them in the gym. So I thought the energy was really good.
One of the funny things, Coach, you mentioned how they're not showing anything in this video. There's one point towards the last couple minutes, I forget when it is, that Coach Davis comes and talks about some defensive principles and things like that in a kind of a one-on-one. He gets his body up into, I can't remember if James Brown or whoever it was on the baseline. And last week I saw people commenting on social media is like, that's what you learn at day 1 at the YMCA or in rec league or whatever it is. And I'm like, it's exactly what you just said. Do you dorks really think Coach Davis is out here giving some nuanced defensive principle that he doesn't want other teams? No, absolutely not. We're just going baseline here, folks. We're just giving a little taste to the media and we move on. Don't get all like, oh man, Hubert Davis is so rudimentary. What are we doing? No, come on, man. That's ridiculous, Coach.
No, the thing I liked about it is that he was actually on James Brown, which means there's more to that. You don't yell at and you don't talk, you don't fix things with guys who you don't think are going to play a whole lot. You just don't spend time on guys who are not in rotation. So to me, that was a bigger message of, hey, this is important. This guy is going to be in our rotation, and we need to make sure we spend time with him. Just like seeing Jarin Stevenson was working out with the guards and the wings, and that was bigger to me too. So those two things combined make me think that James Brown has impressed in practice and that he's going to get some run.
Great point about Jarin Stevenson, Coach. I wanted to go there. You see him working with the bigs and the guards, which, Coach, my takeaway from that, tell me if I'm wrong, is that not only is he going to get backup minutes at the 4, but also he's going to rotate in at that 3 position. Is that your read on that?
Yeah, totally. And traditional Carolina numbers, the 4 and the 5 have to know the same spot. The 2 and the 3 have to know the same spot. And then the 1 obviously has to know all 5 spots. So in his situation, if he is going to play some 4 and some 3, he's going to have to go bounce back and forth between the 2 of them. But that means he's that Swiss Army knife. We've talked about this, about him being able to play multiple positions and seeing him in those situations. That's how I anticipate it. I can see him getting down and playing some 3 and maybe playing some 5 when they go small. But to me, that means if they're playing them some at the 3 or working out with the 3s, I really think that maybe it's Aiden High, but somebody's going to play, some of those bigger minutes than what I anticipated Jarin playing.
That's a good word, Coach. I noted on, I think it was on Twitter last week. It was a short video of Luka getting up a 3, and I just reposted it and said something to the effect of quickest pull, quickest trigger since Brady Manick for Carolina. And maybe you throw Cormac Ryan in that. He had a pretty quick trigger. But Coach, this video was confirmation of that more for me, of seeing how shot ready he is, while some of the other guys need a step or two, a beat or two to gather themselves. Just showing me again how quick he is shot ready and ready to go. And it's like, man, if he can set that example for other guys, really, really, really good.
Yeah. And for me to see Derek Dixon back on the floor, I thought was a great sign, him making shots. Luka gets rid of the ball so fast, and it's in his shot pocket is so strong. But the footwork that I really like is Kyan Evans. It's very quiet. It's quick. It's not complicated, but his feet are, his steps are close together, but he has got great balance, and he made a ton of shots in that video too. So you can tell starters, non-starters, players, rotation guys, non-rotation guys, just based on footwork sometimes, and it's pretty obvious in that video. The guys who are at that next level.
A great point about Derek Dixon there. We also saw Isaiah Dennis back participating. Ivan Matlikovich was dressed, but didn't appear to be participating, at least in what we saw, Coach. And so some positive signs there for the two freshmen that had missed the blue-white scrimmage. Coach, I really liked that drill that was like basically the back half of the video where you guys had the action and guys circling through. You had the corner three, the wing three, and the top of the key three. And you saw those white jerseys, man, right out of the gate. Boom, boom, boom. It was, Jonathan Powell in the corner, Luka on the wing, and Kyan Evans out top, man. And that was a very pretty and fluid action.
Yeah, being able to practice making an extra pass. Make the extra pass, and getting all your footwork so you are catching it, getting ready to go. We have a similar drill that we stole from Carolina. Shooting, we actually have 4 lines, and this is more of a 5-on-0 skeleton offense with some shots at the end of it, with the post players being able to anticipate offensive rebounds, catching and scoring on misses. But there wasn't a whole lot of misses, to be honest with you. The guys really shot the ball great. Everybody shot the ball great. So I do like that. I like to see that kind of movement, and the energy is what I'm looking for. And it kept it high. The passes were crisp. Everything was, pass and catch with 2, and they were able to knock down a bunch of shots. So again, they're not trying to show the playbook, but they're trying to show, the movements and the ability to be able to catch and make shots.
And boy, did they make shots, as you said. The other last thing that I noticed, Coach, was, we've talked about what is the negative of Luka arriving late. There was a couple times where they had to stop a drill and just remind him of his action or the spacing or where he needed to go. And it's like, those are the little things that we're not catching when we're not there day to day that are lost. So again, it's not about his talent. It's about learning the system and actions and practice things and all of that.
Yeah, some of it's just angles, and I think Coach Lebo stopped him at one point, and he was in one spot, and he should have been maybe 5 feet over. And some of it has to do with passing angles. If you have, passes between 2 different guys, a lot of that screen for the screener action means you're going to have 2 options, and you have to look. So he wants him in a very specific spot. Some coaches, Ron Bradley, who was an longtime assistant with Clemson, and DePaul, is a good friend of mine. He had a system where they actually put tape on the floor. Now, we're not allowed to do that on our brand new floor, but just very specific with where they want the guys to be and where they want the ball to be, and it all has a purpose for it. So I think that's what Coach Lebo was getting on Luka in that situation. He just wanted him a step over, and you can see the communication. I think he's explaining exactly why that's important, and it's important to coach that way, to tell kids exactly why you want them to, so that they get a better understanding, and then next time they're in the right spot.
And remind you, I love you pointing that out about the precision of the spacing and the movement and the placement. 2 inches the wrong way could blow up a whole play and whatever it is. So we got to be where we got to be. I love that that's the level of detail that this team is trying to get to. Coach, the ACC preseason poll and awards released on Tuesday, the AP preseason top 25 poll released on Monday. I want to ask you, my friend, are the Tar Heels too high, too low, or just right? We'll do that coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Supply House. Y'all, when the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 HVAC, plumbing, and electrical items coming from the most trusted brands in the business. They have real-time inventory and honest lead times that help keep you from punting on projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. You need fast parts for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer, right? The Part Finder tools and 3D schematics can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. We just talked about that spacing and how all the spacing matters. Man, every minute counts when you're trying to complete a project. Plus, their Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. So join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. Again, that's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer that you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. And when you use FanDuel, whether it's parlays, player props, even jumping in on the action live, it makes watching football even more exciting since you got a little something extra riding on all the action. So whether you're a casual fan or you love diving into all the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. We're about to talk ACC preseason poll. How about the odds for the ACC regular season championship at FanDuel? Duke leads the way at plus 155, followed by Louisville at plus 220. A big drop to the Tar Heels at plus 700, NC State plus 750, and on and on. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the app and get started today. On Tuesday of this week, the ACC preseason poll and awards were announced. On Monday, the preseason AP Top 25 poll came out. Carolina goes third in the in the ACC preseason poll and 25th in the nation in the preseason AP poll. So, Coach, my question for them as a duo or individually, is Carolina too high, too low, or just right?
I think it's just right for what we've talked about this a little bit off, camera in the last week or two. I think they're a top 25 team. I don't think they're a top 20 team. Maybe a little bit lower than I expected. I was probably expecting more 22, 23. But it's more at this time of year. Some of it has to do with reputation, historically, how good these teams are. It has to do with, how last year went. And obviously it didn't go as well as we all wished it had gone. So I still think it's a nice reward. It's nice to be top 25. It's nice to keep that streak alive. But at the same time, it doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's just easier to stay in the poll once you are there than trying to get into it if you're not. So I like it. I'm glad they're there. I hope it's motivation for them to stay there. But the reality is if they play the way that we think that they can play, they'll move up quickly.
And Coach, that's what I want to go to next. You said that's motivation for them to want to stay there. How do you as a coach, like if it's you talking to your Milligan team or if you were Coach Davis talking to the guys, A, do you talk to them about it? Or B, like how do you discuss preseason accolades, whether it's awards like Caleb Wilson is on the second team preseason All ACC? How do you approach, hey, here's where we're ranked or the lack thereof accolades? Like, hey, it's just Caleb on second team. Nobody else made it. Do you address that at all? How do you process it?
Yeah, I don't really address it a whole lot individually. I don't really care. And I don't want the guys to focus on that, the individual stuff. It's got to be about the team. So we really don't want to talk a whole lot about the individual stuff. The team stuff you can bring up in a practice or you can bring up in a film session. This sure doesn't look like a top 25 team or this looks like a top 10 team and they got you picked 25. Any way you can spin it to motivate, I think is a good thing. You don't want to talk about it every day. You don't want to talk about it often. You just here and there, something like that. But again, you don't really want the guys to focus on the big picture of things. I want to think about this next drill, this next possession, this next shot. Let's focus on those things at this time of year rather than thinking big picture. It's very similar to what the practice was. I mean, they broke everything down and then they went to the whole method later on. But it's about the little things right now that are going to help be bigger things down the road.
Little things feed into bigger things, and that's how you get the success you're looking for. And so Coach, if I'm hearing you right, you don't turn a blind eye to it, at least the team level stuff, but you also don't lean way into it and, hey, we're number 18 or we're number 2 or we're 25 and oh man. So no. That seems to make a lot of sense to me. Coach, the rest of the preseason poll, Duke first place, they get 34 of the 49 votes. Louisville second, they get the other 15 first place votes. Then Carolina, then NC State, rounding out the top. Let's go top 10. You got Virginia, SMU, Clemson at 7, Miami at 8, Syracuse 9, Notre Dame 10. Coach, anything there that was shocking or surprising to you?
Not really. And let's be honest, I don't spend a whole lot of time focused on the guys that are below Carolina. I get to the Carolina line and I stop. But Louisville's going to be really good. Obviously, Duke's going to be super talented. It's going to be, and I'd like to see some of those other teams catch up to, and make the ACC great again. Obviously, it's been down the last few years, but my focus, right now is just on Carolina.
Yeah, and that's absolutely right. So when you say you're not paying attention to the teams below Carolina, that means you nothing NC State, right? They're just out of sight, out of mind down there.
Where I don't even know where. Yeah, I'm not sure I even know who's their coach anymore. I don't really know. But now you know how I feel about that whole situation. But we did our preseason poll today. We voted, so that vote will come out here at the end of the week or beginning of next week. And again, I don't. We took 30 seconds as a staff to vote. We don't. It's not really. We don't. It's just an article they go out to try to put out some publicity about the league. So I'm not really concerned about it for my own league. I don't really think it means all that much to Carolina either.
I think that's great insight about how much it actually matters. This poll, by the way, folks, in case you're wondering, is a media poll, not a coach's poll, and there's 49 voters in it. So even less do they know about it. Coach, can I be petty for just a second?
Absolutely.
This is the 10th time in the last 13 years that Duke has been the preseason #1 team in the ACC. Coach, that means 9 of the previous 12 years, they've been picked first in the ACC preseason poll. Would you like to guess how many of those 9 times they were picked #1, they actually finished #1?
Twice.
That's exactly spot on. One of those was last year, and the other, quite hilariously, was 21-22 when they were picked #1 and they won the regular season, but Carolina ended Coach K twice. And so, that's just me being petty, and I'm just going to sit in it and smile for a minute, Coach. No, that's good stuff. And, oh, by the way, those other 3 years where Duke wasn't picked preseason #1, they also didn't win the regular season. So that means that Duke in the last 13 years has won the ACC regular season twice. So you know what, Blue Devils, keep winning your offseason accolades. We'll win the actual on-court championships. Thank you very much. For those wondering, the ACC preseason player of the year was Darion Williams, who transfers from Texas Tech to NC State. Cam Boozer just behind him with 19 votes. Darion had 23. Preseason rookie of the year, Cam Boozer at Duke wins. Caleb Wilson got 2 votes in that one. And as I said earlier, Caleb is on the second team All ACC. Coach, one other cool thing, the women, Carolina women, 11th in the AP preseason poll and 3rd, just like the men, in the ACC preseason poll. So really good stuff there for Coach Banghart's ladies. All right, y'all. On Tuesday of this week, Carolina had a pro day, and it's a reminder of how the NBA landscape is littered with Tar Heels everywhere at all levels of front office work. Also, as a player, I want to ask Coach, how do you avoid getting caught up in all that, knowing that there's all this front office guys sitting literally feet away from where you're performing? Also, sadly, we have to say goodbye to a Tar Heel who passed away on Tuesday. We'll do all that in just a second. Right after I tell you about Mazda, who crafts cars for those who do more than just simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details, and Mazda brings that same level of intentionality to how they craft every single model. You can feel that incredible Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Nappa leather upholstery. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season, because with Mazda, everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling all the way to the intuitive controls. And like Tar Heels, Mazda sweats every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. On Tuesday of this week, Carolina held a pro day, just littered with all sorts of NBA personnel. Adam Lucas had a really nice write-up on it on GoHeels.com. You can check that out. Coach, one of the things he said in there that really struck me is that over the course of this offseason, at least one member from every NBA front office has visited Chapel Hill. And he also noted, boy, what a quick show. How did he put it? Like, basically, that so quickly shows Luka Bogavac how important it was to get over here and get in front of NBA scouts. Coach, when you see a pro day like this, what are kind of your takeaways from moments like that? Why is it so beneficial?
Yeah, I think it's a great motivational tool. I think it's great for your program, so you can use that during the recruiting process. But when they get there, you don't want your kids to do stuff that they don't normally do. All right, we don't need to try to show out. You don't need to try to do it. It's back to Socrates and know thyself. Don't now all of a sudden you got guys who are your 11th, 12th guys, out there trying to do too much, trying to get attention from the just practice the way you practice, play hard, do what you have to do, but let's not do too much. When you get somebody like Caleb Wilson, you have to kind of understand maybe how he thinks and what he expects too. So that 18 minutes that you see playing there's a reason behind why they did what they did. You want to see the athleticism of those guys and how they finish. He's dunking everything, and it's not I mean, everything's effortlessly, but you also get to see him move and screen and handle the ball a little bit and make passes. So there's a combination of everything that and they may even have talked to scouts and say, well, what do you want to see? Is there something specific that you want to see? Do you want to see how he runs an offense, or do you want to see how he finishes at the rim? So I think that's part of it too. You have to be able to communicate exactly. And let's be honest, Carolina knows. They've been around it enough. You got guys who have played in the NBA. You've got guys who have coached in the NBA on that staff. They know exactly what those scouts are looking for. You're not going to put something in there that would surprise anybody.
And coach, what a big flex is it that not only is it just NBA personnel, but you've got so many, both present and through the years, that have Carolina connections, whether they were staffers or they played at Carolina or they coached at Carolina, whatever it is. And I know that there's other programs that are doing this and putting it out in bigger, broader headlights, but Carolina just goes about their business and does it, man. To me, this just feels like a massive flex to the current players to say, look at all these Tar Heels lining this thing.
Yeah, and there's been so much talk about the demise. I mean, Carolina's still blue blood. They're still right there, and they're still getting the attention, and they're still exactly where they've been. They have to have a great year. We all know that, and that's a big part of what we've talked about. But it's still Carolina. It's still Carolina blue. They're still going to draw that attention from not just the NBA, but from the TV, contracts and the games and the times. We've talked about that too. Being able to be prime time, on those nights when the college basketball is being played, they're still a very big part of that schedule.
How do you keep, coach, I would be all up in my head if I was a player in this moment, especially somebody like Caleb Wilson that, I know I'm a potential high draft pick, or Luka who's coming over and it's like, boy, this is my shot. How do you as Hubert in that moment talk to the guys about not overthinking it and just go out and ball?
Yeah, one of the things we talk about all the time is focus, and our focus is different because we've got the weight room and baseball's being hit and the cheerleaders in the corner, but focus is focus. It's still the same. When you get between the lines, I think once the game or the drills or the action, that in this case, post perimeter type stuff, once it gets going, you just kind of have to ignore it and just go play and let the talent come through. And you got to stop looking over at the sideline to see who's sitting there. If you do something and take notes, they don't want Stanley to stare every time they do something, and all of a sudden you're looking to see if somebody wrote something down after you made a dunk or something like that. Just focus on what you do, stay within yourself, and stay within the coach's plan for that day.
Oh, that's great advice. Coach, last word today. Let's shift gears here. On Tuesday of this week, Coach Randy Wiel unfortunately passed away. Played at Carolina from 75 to 79. Was an assistant for the Tar Heels 88 to 93. Head coach at places like UNC Asheville and Middle Tennessee State there in Murfreesboro. Coach, I know you've got some thoughts and just wanted to give you the floor to be able to share those.
Yeah, Randy was a long-time camp guy, and one of my favorite stories in the book was about a day he came to Elizabethton to watch his son Xander play, rookie ball for the Elizabethton Twins. He played baseball at Vanderbilt, and Randy loved talking baseball, but he was just a wonderful man. He's probably one of two people in the world that I know that has more stories than I do. He just would love to sit at a table with a bunch of guys and tell stories about him playing or him. He ran in the Olympics for Curacao. I mean, he did the sprints and he coached. He was on the '93 national championship team. Loved talking about that year and then all the experience he had as a head coach, both in the States and then, of course, in Europe. But he actually coached in the Netherlands for a long time. My grandfather came from the Netherlands as a teenager to America. and he came from a little area called Groningen, and I never met anybody who had even heard of Groningen. And of course, he not only knew Groningen. Oh yeah, they've got a great club team. I love Groningen, and I'm sitting there going, this is one of the coolest conversations I've ever had. But that was Coach Wiel. He was friends with everybody. He always had a story. He always had a kind word, and he's one of those Tar Heel legends that will be very, very missed.
That's all well said, Coach. Love, I obviously hate having to say goodbye to people, but love the opportunity to take a moment to honor and support and share some stories of people's lives. So I'm really grateful to you for doing so. For those that didn't know Coach Wiel or don't remember him, or maybe some of the youngins who didn't get to see that 93 team and what they were doing. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's show. We want to thank you so much for being here with us. Coach and I always love to get these conversations. We love it just because we get to hang out and chat, but we love inviting all of you in alongside with us. So thanks for being here. It really, truly means a lot, and we do not take that for granted in any single way. If you've not subscribed to the show on video and audio, do that right now so you don't miss any of these conversations. We love to have them. If you're not in the Locked On Tar Heels Discord or Locked On Tar Heels Insiders group, those links are both in the show notes. Man, come be part of the circus. It's crazy and bonkers, and we absolutely love it. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll be back again together tomorrow to wrap up the week and get ready for Cal and the next scrimmage down at Cherokee on Saturday. But until then, peace.